And before we start the press conference, we'd like to give you a little history about our company, which is going to be monitored on this TV. Manures. So you want to play the little, shows you the history of the company? Show your line for seconds to
Startling energy and unique business sense of this 4'11" immigrant woman from Russia, Nebraska Furniture Mart prospered, and today is the single largest home furnishing store in the nation. This is a phenomenal success story, but as Mrs. B often says, there's no secret to such success. You buy quality merchandise at the lowest possible price, and you sell quality merchandise at the lowest possible price. But that takes hard work. This ability for knowing what and a fleet of delivery vehicles, Nebraska Furniture Mart operates in a highly efficient manner. The Mart also relies heavily on its people. Over 400 knowledgeable employees who demonstrate good retailing skills. Nebraska Furniture Mart well understands the value and need for attractive showcasing of their product lines. The Mart runs a consistent, high-impact, multimedia marketing program. And the Mart knows that by offering a
if I live long enough to see that.
See if anyone has any questions.
Miss B, how do you feel about selling the store right now after you see that tape?
Well, I'm very happy with who I'm going to be connected. I think it's 1 in a million smart buyers. When I shake hands, he bought the store. I give him the price and he says, okay, let's shake hands, you got the deal.
You don't have to be very smart to figure out it's a good idea to go in partnership with Mrs. B, I can tell you that.
No, there is not too many like that dealing.
Mrs. Blumkin, were you seeking a buyer for the store, or was Mrs.
Well, I always got mad and I say, I'm going to sell the joint. So people spread, I'm going to sell it. And who would expect that a customer will come in and shake hands and buy the store? Unexpectedly. That quick, in 2 words. He asked me how much I won, I told him, and he says, okay, let's shake hands, you got the deal.
When did that happen?
Just a week ago.
It happened on my birthday, Bob.
Right. Yeah, and I told him he struck oil. He said, on your birthday, you struck oil.
So you weren't really out looking for a buyer then?
I was, somebody offered, I say, okay, I'll talk to you. So they look, and they think, and they decide. No, not like Mr. Buffett. It's 1 in a million.
What are some of the terms of the agreement? Will the Blumkin family still have...
Yeah, he'll be president, my son Louis, and the employers the same like it all the time, and I'll be the chairman of the board. Try to compete with my competitors and fight competition.
And Mr. Buffett, what will your position be?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You're only going to invest the money.
My job is to applaud.
What was the sale price?
Well, after we get paid, we'll disclose. I didn't get paid yet. I only shake hands. Maybe it could be in there. Nothing to.
Is there a ballpark figure you could give us?
They give a lump sum. It's in the millions, not in the pennies.
When you say you're going to retain a significant interest, could you tell us what percentage of interest you will retain?
Mostly will be Mr. Buffett's. But I don't know, 15, 20%.
The family will have a very significant...
The family. No, the most money he's paying in. If he gets full, then it's too bad. I hope not.
I should have gone partners with her when that $500. That was the time to join up.
What's your interest, Mr. Buffett? Why do you see Nebraska Furniture Mart as an investment?
He offered me 20 years ago to buy it.
That's right. It's a one-of-a-kind business, and it's run by a one-of-a-kind manager, and you don't get any other opportunities like that.
You had attempted...
You'd have to be a fool not to go into business with Mrs. B, I'll tell you that.
You had attempted to buy it 20 years ago?
Long time ago. Yes, close to 20
He called me up one time. I said, you're too cheap. That time he didn't go want to give me my price.
I made a mistake.
Have you made offers since then also?
No, never.
Yeah.
Never. No. Never approached.
What made you try again to buy it now?
Pardon me?
What made you try again to buy it now?
Just seemed like a good idea.
Had you heard that it was for sale, or did you just walk in and say, I'd like to buy the place?
Came out one day and talked to him, and it went fast after that.
Why does it require FTC approval?
Any deal of a certain size does. There's a law in the books called Hart-Scott-Rodino that
What is that? What is that?
well, there are 3 or 4 different thresholds, but this meets at least one of them.
Mrs. B, you have the most successful furniture store in the country.
Yes.
Why would you want to sell an interest in it to anybody?
Yeah, there is a reason. First thing, I'm proud to get connected with such a person with brains. That not too many has that many brains. And the second time, I'm getting older, I'm not young, and I got wonderful kids, which they always give me pleasure since they were born, and I love it. And when I'll die, I want everybody should have their share, or no arguments. You know, no government should step in, no arguments between them. I love him, and as long as I live, I want to be that honest mother, the way they were good to me, all their life since they were born. I used to tell my kids, how lucky is your mama to have you. I had nothing but pleasure. That's why I lived that long. I had pleasure. Nobody give me aggravation.
I won't give you the aggravation.
No, I don't expect. I say my kids were wonderful, and I want to protect it.
So this would be in part to avoid any kind of court battle or anything?
See, each child will have their share, and I wouldn't have to worry and anything that's happened to me. And I depend on my kids. They'll make the store bigger and bigger. They got the ambitions what I have, and they are capable. And when they say award is good as gold all over the United States, they never back out on anything. Award is award, not only one, all my kids, my son, my son-in-laws, my daughters, when they say something, he said.
I'd like to elaborate on that. This purchase is being made without any audit whatsoever, being made of the books or the inventory or anything about this business, and that's absolutely unheard of in business to make a deal.
It is unheard.
And I would frankly rather have Mrs. B's word than the opinion of all of the Big 8 auditors. That's how I feel about it. So there's no audit being done. It's like dealing with the Bank of England.
Very nice. I appreciate it.
So Mrs. B, it's not that you have any concern that your children would be able to run the company as well as you have?
I'm pretty sure they'll be able to run like I have. As long as I live, I like to give them still help. I like to give them advices. My son came from the war in 1946. Ever we done anything, he never done himself, always asked me. And I had a diamond son, I still say it, it's such a pleasure. You know, a lot of parents don't get along with kids, and my kids are the best.
Will you ever retire?
Well, maybe when I get sick, I'll have to get retired. As long as I got my mouth.
Now, wait a second. She's not going to retire.
No, I don't believe in retirement. I think people are much healthier when they are with people and they work. They do something. Sitting home, you go nuts. You lose your marbles.
Mr. Buffett, do you plan any expansion, perhaps?
Absolutely. We'll try to grow bigger and bigger. Bigger and better.
Mrs. B is going to make a hero out of it, right?
We got 45-acre land. We could build more buildings and everything.
What do you hope to do with the company, Mr. Buffett? Just the status quo?
Well, they will run it, but the status quo has never been the history of the Nebraska Furniture Market. They will keep doing things just like they have in the past.
Will you invest new capital in the business?
The business does pretty well in terms of generating its own capital, but it's always available, that's for sure.
So I guess my question still is, do you have any expansion plans or franchise plans to other states or anything along that line?
Maybe.
We'll run it just like Mrs. B wants to run it.
You're being awfully non-committal.
No, I'm not. I'm committing myself 100%. That's exactly how I feel about it.
So whatever Mrs. Blumkin and family says goes as far as you're concerned.
If they could take $500 and create this out of it, I'm perfectly willing to let them keep playing the hand.
Mr. Buffett, just what has been your relationship with the Blumkin family for you to be so trusting to just say, okay, I'll buy it without an audit, without an investigation?
I've observed and admired this operation for I don't know how long, but a long time. And believe me, you can tell the difference between people that do things right and mean what they say and people that don't. And you can draw up a 500-page contract with the wrong kind of people that doesn't do you any good. And you don't need anything with somebody like Mrs. B and the whole family. It's that simple. And people don't understand that if they haven't really been around in business to some extent, but I can tell you that's the case.
Were you paid in cash or Berkshire Hathaway stock?
Yeah, they're gonna pay us, no, cash.
Cash.
No stock, I don't take stock.
She likes cash.
I sold one time for stock, no, they didn't get it. Leviches. I say, no, I don't trust you guys, I want cash. I would trust them, I believe in cash. I don't like stock.
Makes things simple.
So now, are the family members then your employees?
They're the employees of the Nebraska Furniture Mart, part of which they own.
A subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway now?
Yeah, but partly owned by the Blumkin family.
Berkshire Hathaway is now...
No, but
Okay.
the Nebraska Furniture Mart. It would be a partly owned subsidiary of Berkshire Hathaway.
How large a part?
Well, you'll find that out someday.
Mrs. B, will you still have a personal involvement on a day-to-day
Yes.
basis in running the business?
I'll tell you why Mr. Buffett could trust not only my kids, my son-in-laws. When they say something, they never back out on nobody. And I got a family, a lucky one, that nobody argues between them. Always is harmony, and I like to be with them. Long as I'll be able to work, I'll work. You never can tell, I'm going to be 90 years old, so who knows what could happen. The times is running out. If I'll be well, I'll do the best I can, better than ever.
When do you expect the deal to become effective?
Within a month. There's a certain waiting period involved in the
They have to
FTC.
approve it.
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
Does this deal at all involve the Astro Theater, or no? Mrs. B, will you going to keep it?
Yeah, I'm going to fix it up some days.
You will turn 90 in December.
15.
How many other companies have tried to buy Nebraska Furniture Mart through the years?
Nobody tried to buy, only trucks came in from Chicago. And when I should sign up, and I don't sign up with nobody. I like big business.
Who did those agents represent? Other furniture companies?
No. Levitch one time came and bought and agreed everything. Then they're going to give me stock, and I said to a guy, if you could change your wife for a 20-year-old girl, I don't trust you. I want cash, not I say, I don't need that kind of...
Years ago when Levitt...
Or maybe even longer.
I deal with only business.
Send an agent, then this probably wouldn't have gone through.
I think it's 1 in a million. I never met in my life to shake hands, he says, either Clover Farm, which I made about $3 million profit, only on words. Big plenty of money in the house. We called, to the Clover Farm.
Mr. Buffett, is there anything on paper yet then?
There's a one-page, roughly, piece of paper.
Reservations at all about selling the company? You've put so much of your life into it. Do you have any kind of...
No, I'm selling with happiness and satisfaction. I hope you'll be friends forever.
We will.
Mr. Buffett, would you and Mrs. B recreate the handshake?
Last time it cost me a lot of money. I
Don't worry.
Okay, Mom. All right, I think that'll be it. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Appreciate it. Right. Yeah, 52 this morning.
Oh, yeah, to my wedding, I didn't have that many people.
In business, she stands taller than me. I like that.
Okay, Mom, get on. We got to put her back to work.
Right.
Back to work, man.
Get any carpet sold for 15 minutes.
Now I have to start doing business. Nobody should back out on me.
Okay.
Thanks very much, everybody, for coming. I'm selling with happiness. Not hot.
Congratulations.
See, if you're broke, you worry. I'm not broke yet. I don't need the money. I need a real star to be in this.
Congratulations again.
I'm not going to do this.
Romeo.